Well, Deb Murphy filed this story for Sierra Wave Media. The Horseshoe Meadows fire started last Tuesday afternoon west of Lone Pine. By Sunday, the fire was 94% contained, leaving 369 charred acres. Now, according to an on-site United States Forest Service Public Information Officer for the incident, Manuel Madrigal, the Forest Service would probably pull out this evening, leaving the mop up to the Inyo National Forest crews. But 45 miles north of Lone Pine at Big Pines Mendenhall Park, an adjoining dirt lot, a small village started to spring up the day after the fire. Forest Service vehicles were joined by trailers, porta potties, and support crews in semis. Little tents sprang up like wild mushroom. First in the grassy park perimeters, then in the Little League ball field. Bigger tents, command centers, catering trucks, water tenders to keep the dust down filled the venue. The community's population grew by about 20% in a matter of hours. Now, in total, the Mendenhall Park camp was home to about 350 people for the past 5 days. Now, according to the Forest Service Madrigal, the Type 2 team, 56 firefighters was assigned to the Rock Creek fire that started August 8th. Now, when that fire hit natural barriers and Squaw Meadows was out of danger, the crew was brought in to deal with the Horseshoe incident. Now, the crew includes firefighters from Ventura and Santa Barbara counties, as well as federal and local firefighters. We're on a 2-week rotation, Madrigal explained. And it's been a busy 2 weeks. In what seems to be a logistical nightmare, the Forest Service just puts in a phone call to its contractors, and then a fully functional village appears. Now, why, aside from the sheer beauty of Mendenhall Park, did the camp set up 45 miles north of the fire? A similar location in Lone Pine wasn't available, Madrigal said. Now, in addition to the Big Pine camp, a strike camp was set up in the Horseshoe Meadows with supplies dropped in by airplanes, a total of 10 drops in all, those originating from the Bishop Airport. And we thank Deb Murphy for that story and Russ Monroe for the early footage of that Horseshoe fire. Also, we'll note that the Clark fire, as of this morning, 100% contained, according to the Forest Service. And the Lone Pine Volunteer Fire Department and Ambulance Service announcing that after 46 years of service, with 26 as the chief, Leroy Kritz has retired. Now, the Lone Pine Volunteers ask that you please join them this Saturday at Lone Pine Spainhour Park as they celebrate and honor Chief Kritz's years of dedicated service and welcome new Chief Chuck Carson. Now, festivities will start at 1 p.m. this Saturday, continuing until 6. They'll have activities for kids and emergency vehicles on display. Also, informational tables will be set up with the Lone Pine Volunteer Fire Department volunteers available to provide information about the capabilities of the department, as well as what it takes to become a volunteer firefighter or EMT. They're going to have hot dogs, hamburgers, beverages. They're all going to be provided by the Lone Pine Volunteer Firefighters Association, as well as some help from generous local sponsors. You're asked to please help the Board of Commissioners thank the many volunteers for their service and local businesses for their support of the volunteers. Now, the Lone Pine Volunteers, firefighters and ambulance volunteers commit to hours of training, drills, and classes, drop what they are doing at a moment's notice, day or night, leave their families or jobs to rush off and serve the needs of the community and our visitors. Again, that's this Saturday, Lone Pines Spainhour Park, beginning at 1 p.m. And Deb Murphy filed a report from last week's Inyo County Board of Supervisors meeting, noting Inyo County Planner Kathleen Richards delivered what must have seemed to her like her 1,000th presentation on Inyo National Forest Plan revision process. Now, this presentation focused on the formal comments by the board and the INF's environmental impact study, as well as draft forest plan to be submitted by the August 25th comment deadline. The Inyo supervisors weighed in on some minor wording changes and boundary adjustments to recommended wilderness area designations, indicated their support for the preferred alternative B, but the more aggressive fuel reductions under the fire management section in Plan D. Then they agreed to support a request to extend the comment period by 45 days, pushing back the end of the process by that same amount of days. Now, one of the most convincing arguments for wilderness came from Dan Connor, who called the Eastern Sierra the capital of peace and quiet. In terms of economic development and tourism, Connor said, "You don't have to build it, just protect it, and they will come." Connor also compared the Eastern Sierra experience to that in the San Bernardino Mountains, the antithesis of peace and quiet. Deb Murphy's full story is on our website, sierrawave.net. Deb also filed a couple of stories on the marijuana issue, including, after some wordsmithing and extensive discussion, the Inyo County Board of Supervisors added 3 measures to the November 8th ballot to determine voters' mindset on medical and recreational marijuana businesses and local taxes on those businesses. Now, the latter will be dependent on the passage of Proposition 64, legalizing recreational marijuana, and on the outcome of the 2 advisory measures. Now, the taxation measure is crystal clear. If approved, Inyo County will level a 5% tax on the gross receipts from cultivation, dispensaries, and other commercial businesses. The tax will be in place January 1st, 2017, with a potential of a 2.5% incremental increase as of July 1st, 2020. Now, those increases can be imposed once every fiscal year with a cap of 12.5%. Now, meanwhile, the city of Bishop will wait and see what it becomes of Proposition 64, the marijuana legalization initiative. Now, last Monday, Bishop City Attorney Ryan Jones came armed to the Bishop City Council meeting with a proposed ordinance, but council members deferred to the county's intent. That meeting took place the next day to look for the community for direction on land use ordinances allowing medical and/or recreational marijuana businesses and a proposed 5% tax on gross receipt for those businesses. Now, during the Bishop City Council discussion, Pat Gardner said she had done local research on medical marijuana, and after talking with healthcare providers, she concluded that delivery services weren't necessary. Area pharmacies told her that Marinol, that's man-made THC, the potent ingredient of cannabis, have been available with a prescription since the 1960s. The system works, Gardner said. We urge you to see Deb's full stories on our website, sierrawave.net. We'll be back with more news.